Hello everyone and welcome to the Cobra Corner. In today's episode I'm going to be reviewing episode 10 of season 4 titled The Rise. We have reached the final episode and I have loved this season so far, and I just know that this final episode is going to be huge. Once again, this will not be a spoiler free review and I will dive deep into the spoilers, so if you're yet to watch season 4 of Cobra Kai or Cobra Kai in general, now will be the time to avoid this video. The episode begins in a hospital and I'm instantly I'm sure we all assume it's the worst and Miguel is back in hospital after the cliffhanger from the last episode, but it's actually revealed to be Stingray in the hospital bed, recovering from his attack at the hands of Silver previously. After this we go back to the All Valley, where thankfully Miguel is for the most part fine, as it was just a pulled muscle and not as bad as last episode made out. He has to make a 30-minute countdown if he wants to compete in the remainder of the semi-final, and if he doesn't, then automatically Eli will advance. Back on the mat, action resumes and Dimitri is fighting Robbie in the other semi-final. Robbie is up by 1 point before we see him score a second point. Robbie faces a small resurgence from Dimitri, who contested well, but ultimately Robbie scores a third and final point to advance to the final. Anthony comes to console Kenny after his loss to Robbie and actually apologise to him. Kenny rejects his apology by beating him before Robbie pulls him off. Robbie tells Kenny that it isn't the way he taught him, to which Kenny responds, "It's Cobra Kai, no mercy." In my opinion, this is the first seed planted in Robbie's head since joining the dojo that Cobra Kai is ultimately very bad if it gets into the wrong hands. Robbie offers his hand to Anthony, but Anthony is humiliated and upset and leaves. When passing Johnny, Kreese inquires into the well-being of Miguel and shows remorse for what happened at the old dojo. Kreese tells Johnny he cared more about him than he did anyone. Kreese tells Johnny that maybe one day Robbie can be the one to keep Cobra Kai going, but Johnny declares that it won't happen because tonight Cobra Kai is gonna die. Johnny attempts to encourage Miguel to continue fighting in the tournament. Surprisingly, Miguel doesn't make the 30-minute count, meaning Hulk will advance. Backstage, Miguel finds Sam and congratulates her on reaching the finals of the women's division. When asked why he didn't make the count, Miguel told Sam he didn't believe he was fighting for himself anymore. Miguel tells Sam he will always be rooting for her and Sam returns to the mats. It is revealed that Miyagi-Do need to win both finals in order to become grand champions, but Cobra Kai just need one. In the finals for the males division, Robbie is facing Eli. Robbie scores the first point with a reverse punch, but Eli used Miyagi-Do techniques which he isn't all that accustomed to, and after asking Daniel, Eli is told to put Robbie on the defense. Eli makes it 1-1 with an incredible jump front kick. After a lengthy fight featuring some incredible karate from both competitors and all sorts of twists and turns, the 3-minute timer sounds and it remains 1-1, meaning the final will go to sudden death for the first time since 1985. Of course, 1985 was the Barnes-LaRusso final, in which LaRusso won. During sudden death, the contest remains even until Eli lands a takedown on Robbie before landing the winning point with a strike to the ribs, declaring Eli the winner of the male category. The perfect redemption story this season for Eli. After the male final, Amanda passes Tori in the hallway, where she asks Tori that in turn for Amanda helping her out, if Tori could play by the rules, to which Tori agrees through gritted teeth. Amanda tells Tori that she hopes after the final Sam and Tori can both put their rivalries aside. Daniel approaches Johnny and asks him for his help, and they both apologise to each other and Johnny agrees to be in Sam's corner for the women's final. Kreese delivers encouraging words to Tori, meanwhile Daniel and Johnny are doing the same to Sam. Sam and Tori both approach the mat and the referee signals the start of the fight. Sam lands a flying tornado kick on Tori and takes the lead 1-0. Tori equalises with a punch to the abdomen, making it 1-1 before following up with a back kick, quickly taking the lead. Sam fights back for a reverse punch which she lands, but the referee declares at no point, claiming that Tori was out of bounds. This is a questionable decision though, as it looks like Tori was only out of bounds after the point was scored. Sam eventually does make it 2-2 and the next point will win. Sam lands a takedown on Tori, and whilst they were tussling on the floor, Tori accidentally lands an elbow to Sam's eye, and Tori is remorseful about what happened and insists that it was an accident. When approaching Silver, however, Silver encourages Tori to do it again and that the referee will never end the match on a technicality. Tori insists that she doesn't need to cheat to win, and Kreese has a flashback to what happened between him and Johnny when he told Johnny to cheat at the 1984 All Valley. Kreese tells Silver to allow Tori to do what she wants, which shows that Kreese as a person has experienced growth since the events of the 1984 All Valley. The fighting resumes and eventually Tori lands a back kick on Sam that Sam didn't see coming, and wins not only the women's division but also the tournament for Cobra Kai, meaning Daniel and Johnny must stop teaching. Instead of being happy with the win, Tori at first asks Sam if she's alright, before being wheeled away in celebration by the Cobra Kai. Terry Silver grabs the microphone and announces that he will be opening Cobra Kai franchises across the entire valley. Sam is distraught after the loss and Daniel tries to console her, but it doesn't really work. Carmen reveals to Johnny that somebody saw Miguel leaving and getting into an Uber. Outside the All Valley Arena, the Cobra Kai is seen celebrating and Tori is invited to a victory party, which she agrees to, but she has to get her bag first. While Tori is retrieving her bag back inside the venue, she watches on as Terry Silver is seen thanking the referee and telling him his money will be in his account in the morning. This reveals that Silver paid off the referee to match fix so Cobra Kai could win. I actually feel terrible for Tori witnessing this. She finally gets a taste of success and what it feels like to be the best at something, but it's quickly took away from her. And now it feels like a tainted victory. Johnny returns to the Cobra Kai dojo at the strip mall and notices it's up for lease. Robbie arrives shortly after him and confesses that he tried to use Cobra Kai to control his hatred, but it's ultimately made things worse. Johnny takes responsibility for it and they both embrace. It feels like 4 seasons of seeing Johnny continue to make the same mistakes with Robbie might actually stop here and he will finally have any kind of relationship with his son. At the Silver Mansion, Terry and Kreese celebrate over champagne. Silver tells Kreese that he was surprised that Kreese backed off on Tori in the finals. Kreese tells Silver that he must have had a moment of sympathy. Silver reminds Kreese of the time that Kreese asked Silver what Silver thought Kreese's weakness was, to which Silver believes that Kreese's weakness is Johnny Lawrence. Silver confesses that he thinks it was never about him or Kreese teaming up again, and it was bullshit that Silver fell for, and Silver reveals that Kreese is his weakness. Kreese tells Silver that he has been his strength since Vietnam. Silver then says he can always count on Kreese to play the guilt card, and asks how many times he has to repay that debt before they're square. Sirens can be heard in the background and police cars arrive. We then switch back to Stingray's hospital bed, where a detective asks Stingray who assaulted him. It is then revealed that in episode 8, Silver pledges to make Stingray Cobra Kai, but first Stingray has to do something for him. Silver saw Stingray's weakness, which was his obsession with Cobra Kai, which he used against Stingray to get what he wanted. We then switch to Stingray's hospital bed, where he explains to the detective that the man who viciously assaulted him and put him in hospital was Sensei John Kreese. That's right, Terry Silver has double-crossed Kreese. Silver explains to Kreese that he's shedding his weakness, and Kreese is revealed to be under arrest for aggravated assault and attempted murder. Kreese is handcuffed and Silver says he can recruit an old friend or two to help out with Cobra Kai. Kreese tells Silver that he is Cobra Kai. Silver's final words to Kreese is that he'll take care of Johnny Lawrence. Johnny arrives at Carmen's house where Carmen hands a letter to Johnny from Miguel. Miguel revealed that if he focused on the tournament, he could get over his unbalanced struggle that he'd been facing and that he still isn't sure who he wants to be. Miguel reveals that he wants to find out where he came from and so he has travelled to Mexico to meet his father. Carmen explains to Johnny that Miguel's father doesn't even know he exists. Johnny promises to her that he will find Miguel. We now find Daniel at Miyagi's grave. Daniel is talking to Miyagi and says that he needs to do whatever it takes to stop Cobra Kai, even if it means going on offense. Daniel asks for help from Miyagi, but then the camera pans around to reveal that he was instead speaking to Chosen, who has travelled to the valley from Okinawa. They both bow to Mr. Miyagi's headstone as the episode ends, and we have reached the end of Season 4. Well, what an incredible end to what was an amazing season. The last 15-20 minutes of the episode was just mind-blowing. Almost every one of our characters will be impacted by the crazy events of that period. I mean, how will Robbie feel now that Johnny is once again putting him second to Miguel so he can travel to Mexico to find him? Especially after they took the first steps to building their relationship. How will Johnny break it to Robbie that he has to go to Mexico to help Miguel out? And Terry Silver, I didn't even know he had that in him at all. All season we've been teased by friction between Kreese and Silver, and it seemed inevitable that it would have been addressed by one of them. But if anyone was to do such a thing like this, I thought it would have been Kreese, not Silver. And then Chosen. He just looked incredible in that final scene. That final scene is arguably just the most badass in Cobra Kai history. Everything about it, the camera panning to reveal Chosen, just absolute top drawer. Chosen just looks like the final boss. Everything about this scene was just done completely right. I can't wait to see how this will all pan out in Season 5, and once I've done a review of Season 4, I have so many things I want to dive into in regards to Season 5, and I don't want to flog a dead horse because it feels like we're saying this, but Season 5 is looking to be the biggest and best season yet. That's all we have time for today on the Cobra Corner. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.